Right here on Can News Alerts TV with me, Tamara Patience, and I'm joined by Emmanuel Bosire. And today our focus is going to be on what is currently happening in Kenya, of course. And the question that I'm going to pose to Emmanuel today is in regards to what Cleophas Malala actually talked about. And we know previously we've been discussing about, or we've been talking about the current government blaming the previous regime, that is Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, for the current economic state of Kenya. And also the issue of the oil saga is something that we are looking at, seeing the back and forth between the president, that is William Ruto, as well as the opposition, with the reports that they've given, also with the exposures that they've given in regards to the oil issue. But now we saw Cleophas Malala actually coming up or making some allegations relating the 17 billion oil shipment to Uhuru Kenyatta as well as Raila Odinga. I don't know how much intel do you have in regards to what is currently happening with this particular story?
It's all about blame games. Yeah,
Evo too.
it's all about blame games. We don't want to accept the fact that you did this mess and you have perhaps you are the one responsible. In depth is that the current administration is blaming the previous administration. And when you have blame games, this reminds me to old school time when we went to school and the teacher asked you, why did you not do the homework? You start giving blames. There was no electricity. There was no fuel for. There was no kerosene for maybe the network. So the current administration is blaming the previous administration. But what surprises me and many Kenyans is the previous administration had the second in command, who is the current president.
No.
So you cannot differentiate the former administration with the latter, whereby you were the second in command. So a matter of fact is that we still blame you as Kenyans. There's a song we used to sing also that baba alipiga mama, mama akapiga mtoto, mtoto akapiga.
Yeah.
Sasa all down kuendelea.
Yeah.
And the current administration, where the second in command then is now the president. How do we differentiate between the former administration and you? It becomes very difficult to differentiate. And the current administration is an administration that is best in selling propaganda. You know, they can sell propaganda to Kenyans and Kenyans will believe that through the former administration did what? Just as they sold bottom up. Who believed that Mama Mboge and Boda Boda men were to be used in 2022 election? Many did not see it coming. But the current administration by President Ruto and his deputy, they were able to convince Kenyans and sold all kinds of propaganda about Raila Odinga, about former president, that he wanted to be the president, he never wanted to leave State House. Something we never saw him maybe had no intentions. So this propaganda has been sold. And one of the propagandas that's sold at the moment is that the 17 billion scandal is linked to the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and its administration with Raila Odinga.
No.
That it's one way that you saw Cleophas Malala saying that the current, the former administration, after realizing that they have lost elections, they ordered the National Treasury to give out money to private companies and accounts. And this money now is being regenerated back through the scandal that is about 17 billion at the moment. So these all kind of scandals, when you find them and you see them, it's only a continued blame game. Now, one, you've identified, you have this propaganda. You've not taken them to court. You've not taken any case to court to stop them from continuing this scandal. And now you're telling us that how can we believe that for sure this is the truth or it's a lie? So this blame game is one that the current administration knows to play it well. And if we don't take keen, we might be told everything lies about the former administration. So when you have 1 year down the line, why wouldn't you sort out this thing the first 2 or 3 months? Now that you are the head in command in our country. So it's all about blame.
Yeah. And of course, one of the things that Cleophas also mentioned when he was talking about this issue is that he said that the country or Kenya cannot be controlled, or the oil sector, Kenya's fuel sector cannot be controlled by two families, that is Uhuru Kenyatta and of course, stating that that monopoly needs to be broken. And of course, this raises the question of is the fuel sector really owned by anyone, considering the fact that on this other side, we saw Raila Odinga ask, or not even request, ask certain top leaders to actually step down because of the non-clear circumstances in which the oil procurement process is actually taking place in Kenya, and also them blaming the current regime for the oil situation, fuel prices in Kenya. And number three, the request, or the request to actually go back to the open tender system instead of the G2G system that is currently happening.
These are propaganda that I was talking about. Talking about three families controlling our economy. That's we want to ask ourselves. You are telling us that the administration for the dynasties was not considering the lives of Kenyans who are hustlers and living maybe hand to mouth salary and means. But now you saw this propaganda for the last 3 to 4 years. You've been elected as the president. Now you are not a dynasty, you are a hustler. But the life is unbearable to the hustlers whom you told that you want to advocate for their lives to improve. So this brings a very, very, very big irony. The dynasties, when they were in leadership, life was affordable to Kenyans. Kenyans were able to sustain their lives and they were having hopes for a better tomorrow. So when you changed it now, you told us this issue of dynasties must come to the end. And by all means, you won the election. Now you are not a dynasty, you are a hustler president. And your administration is not about dynasties. But you see how Kenyans are facing. At the moment, there's floods in different counties. Kenyans are being swept by water, and the government, just like the second in command, is blaming the county government for Mombasa for not having helped the people. And you are the second in command. People in Nyando, they're being swept like anything else. And they are crying for the government to help. But the government is still blaming the former administration. The former administration, when the floods were coming in, they were able to solve this problem. And Kenyans were not really suffering as now at the moment. Now you are the head in command. You have your system of administration. Don't keep on blaming the former administration. It's true, any government has got challenges and problems. So it's you to decide to inherit the problems or to inherit the advantages. Look at what the former administrations has put in place to help your administration to become easy at the moment. There are challenges that they faced during the administration. They faced COVID-19. You, President Ruto, you don't have COVID-19. Your problem at the moment is the cost of living. Sorting out the cost of living does not need you to blame the former administration. And if you continue blaming the former administration, and the former administration decide not to keep quiet and come out to counter you, you're going to have a mess in this our country that nobody will ever solve. If Uhuru Kenyatta decides to come up, he is still influential. There are people who still trust in his wisdom and his guidance. So if they continue in this way, we're going to have a state whereby we are not going to have peace. It's going to be a lawless country, something that we don't want to have. On the other hand, Cleophas Malala and other leaders who are in Kenya Kwanza administration, who keeps on throwing scathing words to the former administration. This is an indication who has sent them. They're not speaking on their behalf, but they're speaking on representing someone, and who is President Ruto. So the war between Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta has never come to an end.
No.
And at times, maybe we thought by winning an election, this war will come to an end. But now we're seeing it, this war even is going to extend.
And okay, there's also something or some allegations that Cleophas actually mentioned while he was explaining, and of which, to our dear viewers, we're going to be seeing the video at the end of this Ask Siasa. But meanwhile, feel free to tell us on the comment section below your opinions on the sentiments that Cleophas actually put out, or on the allegations that Cleophas put out, linking the 17 billion oil case or oil saga to Uhuru as well as Raila Odinga. So now my question to you is, again, we've seen Cleophas come up, we've seen him state that give an account of events, and also put some question marks into how this woman, who is not known, who doesn't have any business in the country, was able to, or out of nowhere becomes, let's say, a billionaire, or is able to procure 17 billion shillings worth of oil shipment. And this now being linked to the Kenya Kwanza government, and then again also being linked to the previous regime, as you said, through the propaganda and whatnot. Could it be, in your opinion, could it be that what Cleophas is actually trying to say, to the accounts that he's trying to give about what happened about this woman being a possible fraud in this picture, possible actually? And if that is the case, how then can Kenya find a solution to where was this money gotten from? How is this money going to be accounted for? As well as how is the oil situation in Kenya also going to be solved?
The problem we have is that politicians are the same people again who control the business in our country.
No.
So when they control business, it becomes unethical who monitor their business. And now this woman, it can be true that she's not the original or the owner of that amount and that fuel, because the business is controlled. They are real investors who invested in this business of fuel importation to our country.
No.
So if it's true that the link between the former administration and the woman in picture, it then can give a clear indication that the government is right. The government, in other words, it has got the National Intelligence Services, the NIS. They keep informing the government from every aspect. And it could be true that the former administration their accounts are being monitored. And for them maybe wanting to escape, they might want to use somebody else. And that's why you've seen them trying to see the history of this business. You also need to get business people telling you, I started down, I used the profits to improve the business up to the moment. So when the history of her is being searched into the Kenyan system, it shows that she does not own even a kiosk. And then you must be worried. But now the big picture I want to bring here is that she's not the one alone. There are many businesses in our country that's being run by politicians, but using other people's names, either knowingly or unknowingly.
No.
So this is the big problem that we have. People want to hide behind the government and do all the ills and still come and complain that this government is going to do what? Is going to improve the lives of our Kenyans. Something that we don't want to have. We want to have professional businesses done in our country. If you want to be a professional leader. Avoid all the unethicals that come on the line of duty. So Cleophas could have taken time. They have done that research, and they found out that she's being used. And remember, the DCI had interrogated her, and she could have told what is going on. So hii ni kitu ambayo tunatarajia kuona maajabu hapa mbeleni, na kile ambacho kitasemwa sijui kama kitakuwa kweli ama uongo, but what we want is that justice be done to a Kenyan. 17 billion is a lot of money.
No.
17 billion is a lot of money.
And to our dear viewers, that is how we're going to end it here on Ask. Yes, of course, we're going to be leaving you with this particular video of Cleophas Malala in order to give you a better understanding of some of the revelations that he actually made relating the 17 billion oil saga, of course, to Uhuru Kenyatta as well as Raila Odinga, and putting some question marks into who really is owning or who really is ailing the fuel sector or the energy sector in Kenya. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for joining us, and to our viewers, depending on whatever time you're watching this, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And remember, Ask Siasa is all about your opinion.
Afanyia kazi kabisa. Ndiposa mliona juzi vile alikuja katika ile Ma Festival. Alisema kwamba hata ile Amboseli National Park ataregeshea Wamasai. Na mliona vizuri sana alitimiza ahadi hiyo, si ndio? Vile vile mnajua vizuri sana kwamba tuko na changamoto ya uchumi kidogo. Rais anajaribu sana kuhakikisha kwamba amefanya uchumi wa Kenya umekuwa stable. Ukweli wa maneno ni kwamba tulipata serikali hii kama iko chini kabisa. Saa hii ndio tunang'ang'ana kuileta juu. Na mpaka sasa hivi serikali yetu economically iko stable kwa sababu kwanza siku hizi hatukopi pesa kulipa mishahara. Siku hizi serikali inalipa mishahara on time kwa sababu tuna collect revenue vizuri. Jambo la pili, mnaona sana tulikuwa na pending bills mingi sana za kulipa. Tulikuwa tumeachiwa madeni za barabara peke yake tu 960 billion. Barabara madeni peke yake. Na mmeona rais amejaribu sana kutembea nchi za ugaibuni kuhakikisha ameleta pesa kwenye county. Mnaona saa zingine propaganda inakuwa mingi kabisa. Kama juzi umeona ile pendekezo ya ministry kupandisha bei ya Ministry of Interior, walipandisha bei ya vitambulisho lakini watu wakachukulia vibaya. Kitambo tulikuwa tunalipa shilingi 150 kujiandikisha kama Mkenya. Na saa hii ministry imesema kwamba tulipe shilingi 300. Hii shilingi 50, hiyo bei iliwekwa miaka 40 zilizopita. So if we were able to pay 50 shillings 40 years ago, katika ile kipande yetu ile ilikuwa ya karatasi, ilikuwa mnaikumbuka wale watu ambao walizaliwa kitambo, 50 shillings. Serikali sasa imeona kwamba sasa 40 years later, hii ndio mara ya kwanza tunaongeza baada ya 40 years. Wakati sasa teknolojia imebadilika, kwamba ile ID ambayo tunaenda kupata haiendi kuwa ile ID ya kawaida. Inaenda kuwa ile ID ambayo iko na microchip. Ile ambayo iko na data yako yote, NHIF iko hapo ndani, kila kitu, bank statement, kila kitu kwa hiyo ID. Ukienda unaonyesha tu ID, wanaangalia vitu yako yote, NSSF, everything iko katika hiyo kadi. Sasa wamesema tutoke kwa shilingi 50 kwa shilingi 300 peke yake. You only get an ID once in a lifetime. Hiyo sio ati kwamba kila siku utakuwa unalipa shilingi 300. So kuna wale watu wataki Kenya isonge mbele. Mumeona wamesema kwamba ati ukipoteza ID yako ukienda kureplace utalipa shilingi 1000. Hiyo pendekezo inamaanisha kwamba kureplace hiyo kadi yenyewe kuundwa, haiwezi undwa na shilingi 50. Itabidi iundwe na hiyo shilingi karibu 500 ama 600 na serikali ipate pesa yake kidogo. Ndiposa tumesema kwamba 1000 kwa wale ambao wamepoteza ID. Na kwa maisha yako haupotezi ID kila siku. Ati kwamba wewe utakuwa unatoa shilingi 1000 kila siku. Kama mimi tangu nizaliwe nimepoteza mara moja ama mara mbili peke yake. Kuna wazee ambao wamefika 70 years watapoteza ID mara 3. So kulipa kwa serikali shilingi 3000 kwa miaka 70. Hiyo ni kitu ya kwanza kusema kwamba rais ni mbaya. Tunataka uzalendo, Wakenya wajitolee uzalendo, waache kufikiria kwamba government imekuja kudhulumu watu. Government is providing costs ambazo zitafanya services zikuwe rahisi kwenyu. Hakuna haja wewe ulipe shilingi 50 wakati unakwenda kureplace ID card serikali kuambie kuja baada ya miezi 7 ama 8 kwa sababu haina pesa kukuundia ID card. So ni information ambayo wananchi wanapewa wrong information. Kama juzi mumesikia ati kuna mama anaitwa sijui Njeri amepoteza mafuta ya 17 billion. Mulisikia maneno? Na hiyo yote ni propaganda ya kujaribu kuharibia serikali yetu jina. Huyo Njeri, swali ambayo inafaa tuulize Njeri, biashara yake ya Kenya hapa iko wapi? Enye alifanya biashara akatengeneza 17 billion na akaweka kwa bank gani, na akachukua hiyo pesa alituma siku gani kule kununua mafuta? Hakuna traces yoyote. Huyo Njeri mwenyewe hana hata kiosk na ako na 17 billion. Na mumeona vile hiyo mambo imetokea, mambo ya Njeri, ndio Raila ameanza kuongea maneno ya mafuta. Mumeona vile mambo ya Njeri imetokea, ndio mara ya kwanza Uhuru Kenyatta ameamuka akajua kuna kanisa kule Ukambani. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu wakati tulikuwa tunaenda kura mulisikia kwamba kuna 16.9 billion shillings ilipotea. Si mnakumbuka? Hiyo pesa walitoa kwa madola wakapeleka kwa makampuni zao kule nje. Sasa wameenda wamechukua hiyo pesa kule nje 17 billion wakanunua mafuta ikuje kwa njia ya Njeri, ndio hiyo pesa irudi hapa Kenya. So Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, we already know your interest in that scandal. So wameanza kutisha rais, ndio rais akubali mafuta yao hiyo ingie. Hiyo mafuta ikiingia wagawane pesa zao zile ambazo walikuwa wamepora Kenya, 16.9 billion Kenya shillings, yenye walitoa within 24 minutes. Mnakumbuka hiyo kitu? Sasa ndio hizi zinarudi Kenya. Sasa sisi si wajinga kama serikali. Ndio unaona vile tumefinya Njeri, Uhuru Kenyatta ameamka haraka amekuja. So Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, you must declare your interests in this fuel scandal. Tangu lini Raila Odinga wewe unaanza kusema ati kampuni fulani ipewe tenda, kampuni fulani ipewe tenda? That is not your work. That is not the work of opposition. As government, kama serikali imesema ni government to government business na imeteua kampuni 3, respect the decision of government. The contracts are in parliament. Unaweza enda kwa parliament uangalie contracts zile ambazo serikali imepeana. Na Saudi Arabia nao kama government pia nao wameteua kampuni ambazo zitafanya kazi na kampuni yetu. So tafadhali Raila Odinga, wewe concentrate na biashara yako ya gas. Ile gas. Najua Raila alikasirika kwa sababu wakati tuliingia tulipata yeye na Uhuru walikuwa wamepandisha bei ya gas. Walikuwa wamepandisha bei ya gas, hii ndogo ilikuwa karibu 3000 shillings. Unakumbuka? Na ni kwa sababu yeye peke yake ndio ana produce gas. Yeye ndio anafanya biashara ya gas Kenya nzima. So vile rais aliingia akafungulia kampuni zingine zifanye gas, gas sasa imerudi, bei ya gas imerudi chini. Hiyo ndio hasira ambayo Raila Odinga hako nayo. So Raila Odinga accept this competition. The era of monopoly, business monopoly in this country iliisha. Rais anajali sana watu wa chini. Saa hii wanalalamika ati kwamba wameongeza ushuru sijui ya nini, lakini jana mumeona hata leo kwa gazeti ya leo, rais kupitia Kenya Private Regulatory Authority ambayo inaongozwa na Fazul Mohamed wameongeza mshahara ya bawabu, watchmen na guards, private security guards kutoka 14,000, minimum yao inaenda kuwa 30,000 shillings. So what has the president done? The president through the Kenya Private Regulatory Authority wametoa mabawabu ambao ni 1.2 million guards in Kenya. Na mnajua Masai tuko hapo na Waluya. Si mnajua? 1.2 million guards, private guards. Wametolewa kwa mshahara ya 14,000, wamepelekwa kwa 30,000. The reason is tumewatoa kwa wale kikundi ambacho hawalipi ushuru sasa. Tumeongeza kwa wale ambao sasa wanaweza toa ushuru. Kwa hiyo 30,000 watatoa NHIF, watoe NSSF, watoe housing levy ya 450, wabaki na 26,000. Serikali itakuwa imefaidika na pia yule bawabu atakuwa ametoka kwa 14,000 mpaka kwa 26,000 ambaye anapeleka nyumbani. So sisi kama chama tunaunga mkono the increment of salaries and the welfare of private securities as advertised and as gazetted by the Kenya Private Regulatory Authority. We are in support of that regulation, that even private security guards have should have decent lives, should earn decent salaries just like any other Kenyans. And therefore, tunaunga mkono kabisa rais azidi kuinua watu wa kutoka chini kwenda wapi? Juu. Inaitwa bottom up. So karibu sana, na tuko na viongozi ambao pia waliwania kiti cha MC hapa na wamejiunga na sisi. Tungependa kuwakaribisha sana, na tutawavalisha kofia na mjiandikishe kama wanachama kabisa, na mtupatie details zenyu tusimame na nyinyi.